What's good? What's good? What's poppin'? It's your boy BC one half of Zay. You know what it is. You know something? I remember back in the days, in the early days of YouTube and AOL, when these people would try to blackmail people and lie about who they were. Remember that back in the days when people would just be lying about who they were, trying to set people up, doing weird stuff. There's a lot of nuances to that. Nowadays, you're much more smarter, but man, it was scary back in the days, man. Too many people trying to set people up because they think it's fun. Nowadays, you're smarter. So why am I saying this? You should be smart enough to slow down. You should be smart enough to stop losing your mind and crashing out on people and then realize I messed up. Every single thing don't need a response. Because I remember I was talking to somebody, right? In real life. And I told the person, you don't got to respond to everything, but you could respond to everything. Now let me explain. You don't got to respond to everything right away. You just take your time to gather your information. And when you respond in the way you need to respond to defend yourself. Because a lot of time people want that self-gratification and they want to lose their mind and crash out and say a bunch of stuff that they can't take back. Remember what I told you in the last video about people stealing information and, lying? Because there was a time where people would literally, when they're sending these fake emails, they'll put the name of the sender as whoever, because they can find their name online, by the way. And then they'll say a bunch of stuff and you're going to think it's that person. You start getting mad at that person. Instead of calling them or talking to them, hey, was that you? They would have just told you no. Someone is sending you fake emails with my information. And the reason why I'm saying this is a lot of times people don't like to research, check things. The first thing they do is they're triggered. And then they realize, oh, snap, I messed up. See, in this world, if you want that tranquility, you want that peace, you got to create the peace for yourself. You got to stop being around people who's not peaceful. And here's the hardest thing. There's a lot of snake clowns in this world who you're cool with, but they be clowns. And a lot of times you got to fall back. You got to slow it down. And they're clowns, but you're not going to say it. And then there's some people who not clowns, but they're too messy. And not in the messy in a way where it's about the mess. It's messy in a way where they just be in too many things that they shouldn't be in. They be doing too much. And you got to know how to fall back, because one day you want peace and the next day you want chaos. Which one is it? What do you want? What do you want? It's a lot of folk, they don't know what they want, and that's the problem. Some of y'all need to find out what you want, and some of y'all need to slow it down and trying to find some peace or find something. I don't know. Too many chaos in this world. Too many times, people get angry. They want to fight. They want to argue. When you start going up in age, being about the mess kind of gets lame. You start to realize that. You could only go back and forth unless you're in the gossip section or something like that, where you're actually making money. That's the only time it makes sense. If you're not making money from it, it makes no sense at some point as you get older. If you got a business, imagine you have a business, right? And you're trying to sell things in your business, but instead you're selling words. You're just saying a bunch of stuff, selling things and not getting no profit. And the whole time you got a quantity of items you haven't sold over a year or two. Now think about this. Imagine you have a bunch of items in the back. And for 1 year, all you've been doing is going back and forth with people, losing your mind, jumping out the window. And then you start to realize, oh, snap, I can't sell this stuff because I done dirtied my name. See, a lot of times I try to help some folks. I ain't taking no shots at nobody. So, slow down some of y'all, because some people be getting. I try to help some folks in real life, and and then I fall back. There's people who I'm cool with, but they're cool with people I don't like, and vice versa. But at the same time, I don't let that get in the way. I try to help the people who I mess with, right? And I just be telling them sometimes, hey, and then I fall back. And then they try to do the same thing for me. And sometimes I slip up. Sometimes I don't listen. Sometimes I do something dumb. It's just part of the game. But you got to learn. And a lot of times y'all don't learn. And when y'all learn, you let your pride take over. but not accepting that you're not perfect, and by not doubling back and fixing it. I've said things on YouTube that I go back and I see these old videos that, I had a whole different mindset. I'm willing to be like, okay, I was wrong about this and wrong about that. It is what it is. Because everybody at one point in time had a different mindset that they have now, and then they'll do it in 5 years. That's why a lot of times I don't be judging people. You might have said something 5 years ago about me, and then you change. As I got older, I kind of stopped that. It is what it is. And that's the thing about life. Enjoy life, slow down, stop wasting your energy going back and forth with people until it's the right time to do. When it's the right time, that's the problem with some of y'all. When it's the right time to do it, that's when you do it. Because eventually you'll know the right time. And focus on yourself first. Y'all's too busy focusing on other people instead of focusing on yourself first. When you focus on yourself first, you build yourself up, you start bringing in money, you start creating what we call content to benefit your business, if you have one. And then you start bringing in that wealth, baby. You know what I mean? You start bringing in that moolah. And then you could talk your trash. But until then, y'all need to stop crashing out. It's not worth it no more. In 2025, things are getting darker. Y'all got to find a light somehow. Slow down. Chill. I'm just saying a bunch of gibberish. But someone's going to feel me. You feel me? Peace.